Welcome back to the Best of Pest Marketing podcast. I am joined today by someone I'm so excited to talk to and someone that you are all likely very familiar with. I am talking to and joined here today by Dominique Stumpf. She is the CEO of the National Pest Management Association. Dominique, welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Hi, Kelly. Well, thanks for having me here with you all today. And I really look forward to share a little bit about NPMA and the work we're doing and how important this industry is to me and to those we serve.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for you just to quickly, those who may not know you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to becoming the CEO of NPMA.
Sure. Well, we don't have that much time, so I'll keep the Cliff Notes version. But I started with NPMA as an executive assistant nearly 30 years ago. And really, from the day I started, I can tell you I didn't really understand what the pest control industry was. But as soon as I got there and started reading the materials, I was really impressed by something I had no knowledge of, and all of a sudden realized what it played an important role in our lives every day. And we just didn't know that. So I'm from the Midwest, Ohio. Go Bucks. And I am a history lover. I'm poli sci, pre-law, all the things that most people go, what were you planning on doing with when you get out of college? And I didn't know what my path looked like then, but I landed at NPMA, and I've literally just been growing since the day I've arrived, played many different roles in the organization, from membership to supporting marketing to advocacy, and I think pretty much everything but finance is where they stopped letting me play. And in all those roles, really what it meant was just really supporting and helping people and learning how to better serve our members. So that kind of got me to where I am today. And, when the opportunity came up to become or, apply for the role for CEO, I just felt like I love these people, and I don't know who could do it better. Like, I'm sure there's people out there with more skills or maybe more experience in that role, but I felt like I had the heart and the commitment to learn, and really do the best and give my best to this association and to the industry.
Love that. Like, you're like, I'm going to bet on myself. I know I can do this. And I'm sure part of that is like knowledge and skill, but I'm also sure that part of that is like just like your care and passion for the industry. So I love that. Besides outside of your world of pests and advocacy, and even history, like what are your favorite hobbies? What do you like to do to wind down and spend your time?
My husband and I live on a lake, so we do love boating and just kind of being on the water, like doing nothing. We're not like athletes, so we literally just have really found our skills are on floating. So if you want to know how to float, we got you. And we just love the peace that the water brings. And we love to hang out with our dogs. Those are our children. We have two Shiba Inus. And we love entertaining. We love to host our friends and family and just provide a place for them to just relax and have a wonderful time. We've often been told we provide an adult playground. So it doesn't mean kids aren't welcome. It just means sometimes there's things like axe throwing and other things out there that you might be like, are kids supposed to be out here? Sure. Like, we'll help them through it. But so that's what we do love to do. And that's how we spend our free time.
That sounds incredible. I was about to say you love to host and you live on a lake. I know that you have some wonderful friends who probably love to spend time with you out
Yes.
there. Well, I am excited to get into everything today from public health. I would love to talk to you about leadership and mentorship. Um, you have so much valuable insight to offer, and I'm ready to get into it. Yeah, I'd love to start with, you know, the public health and the impact that the pest management, pest control industry has. It's probably more than most people think. And obviously, if you are uh, a pest control operator, if you are someone who works in the industry, you understand these things. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how you feel in PMA and in your advocacy. How does that play into it? Why do you think that pest control is one of the most important professions?
Yeah, and I think, Kelly, I would love to say that I do think every person providing pest control services actually believes that. So if there's anything that can leave this conversation today is that somebody listens and says, I get it now. Because I think sometimes we don't know our own worth, right, in what we do. So, I mean, pest management professionals, just like you said it, I mean, they're on the front lines of public health. And people do think we're kind of a commodity service or it's convenient until it's real, until they really have a problem. And then that's when our folks step in. So, I look at it's from pretty much coming from the crops, all the way to the food facilities, stores, restaurants, pest control is everywhere. And that's the part that wowed me that I learned, right? I was kind of like, oh, yeah, that's true. Like I didn't even think through it. You don't think about all the things that happen before you actually have access to something as simple as a life necessity like food. So, and then of course you get into all the diseases. So I like to reference often, we always were protectors of public health, but we never really talked about it. We never had something really um, pertinent because, our country is blessed with a
Yeah.
much more healthier background or environment than most other places in the world. We don't worry about dengue and some of these other really prevalent diseases. I mean, all of a sudden the West Nile virus is there, but people are like, oh, that doesn't really harm all of us. It's kind of a niche thing. But when the Zika virus came in 2016, it like kind of swept over the southeast and into the country, and people were really alarmed and really like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? And I think it was the first time, as an industry, we really were able to kind of speak to something specific that was in general public's minds.
Yeah.
So I think, for us, like we like to say, how does it, we set ourselves apart as NPMA in being, I guess, an advocate for industry and a advocate for what we do and really speaking to the public health thing is we really try to be science backed. And because we're an industry and an association, we can really talk to that and really talk with regulators, legislators, and have a voice, as it relates to health agencies that can speak to what we do, how we do it, and the impact that we can make. And it just builds trust because it's really just talking about real things versus us just selling a service. We're
Exactly.
actually making a difference in their lives. So, I mean, ticks, mosquitoes, cockroaches, rodents, bed bugs. I mean, those are just the ones top of mind that really do impact public health. And our people are out there fighting it every day. Hopefully less on the bed bugs, but I feel like that's still much more common. Nobody wants to talk about it anymore because you just
That's
have to,
right.
it's just one of the dirty things, another dirty thing that we have to deal with as an
Yeah.
industry.
You're so
Uh,
right. Every once in a while, there will be a story, really, like in the news, like there will be a story that, like you said, Zika or West Nile, and it highlights or it'll really shine a light on the public health, like how that does impact it, and the people
yeah.
who are on the front lines really are the technicians, and they're out there
Yeah.
working to ensure that we are in a safe and healthy environment in our homes and in our businesses. That really is something I think goes unnoticed.
Yeah, and some other ways we do it, I mean, just to throw out some examples of how we can help educate. To us, it's also not just about our people getting out there and doing all the things, understanding the science and the actual application, but it's educating the consumers about the
Yeah.
value of the industry so people understand it. It's removing some of the fear with education, and we provide out resources through our Professional Pest Management Alliance, which is
Yes.
our marketing to the consumers arm. We do the bug barometer, so that really helps predict what things are what companies should be looking for, what consumers can be expecting, and then they can work with their pest professionals. We have our public health pest index, which really speaks to the actual and pests that really do bring disease into our communities and homes, helping folks understanding that. We have so many fun programs like What Grows Out There, Out of Sight that, are really designed for consumers to learn about the value of what we do as an industry, protecting their health. And we just constantly developing new things. We have lots of, my favorite thing to share is for teachers. I think we all have friends, that are teachers out there, and nothing makes me happier than like right before school when we start releasing all the Pest World for Kids stuff. And it's, all kinds of education for students to learn about bugs. And we live in a time where, and I don't know when it goes away, but I feel like it's been trendy for at least the last decade, where learning about bugs is cool and kids love them.
They
So
do, yeah.
I don't remember that when I was in school, but I do, I feel like it's a thing now. Like the kids love it. So it's great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for us as an industry to put our name in front of folks and have them understand the value of what we do and learn about pest control and fight against the public health pest.
And so that's an arm of NPMA, is that correct?
Yes.
Very cool. Okay. So you've kind of got we're hitting it from all angles. Like we are working with owners, operators, we're working with technicians, we're working with the general public really to further the initiative. Talk to me a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, NPMA's got a lot of things going. So,
Yeah.
so I mentioned the Professional Pest Management Alliance, often referred to as PPMA before, but we've just now kind of rebranded recently called the Alliance, and that's really our consumer awareness. And we spend it's all funded by members or the industry leaders, and it's really getting out there with the message. So it's Pest World, the pestworld.org. It's where we send all consumers, all of our PSA messaging, commercials, everything drives consumers back to this website. And in there's a ton of educational information, which I think
Mhm.
is a great tool for pest control companies when they're out there and they want their customers to see like, hey, it's not just me saying it here and you thinking I'm just trying to sell you something. Like there's an organization here that's not selling you anything, but just wants you to be educated and have the right information you need, to work, with a professional pest management professional. So, definitely that's huge for us. And then it's
Yeah.
the tools like the public health index, bug barometer. There's just so many things. Honestly, they're developing lots of things. I would highly recommend inviting Jim to come talk about that. That would take a whole hour plus for him, but tell him
Oh,
he
that'd
only
be
gets an hour because he
awesome.
likes to talk a lot.
I can speak from the uh, pest control marketing side. We have used that resource in
Oh,
our
good.
marketing material, like for our own clients. We have used that as like the source of truth when we're doing research, when we are um, looking for like fun, ways and information to share about these things with customers. That's exactly what we use. So,
Well,
and have for years. So I love,
that's great. Well, when you have really cool content that you can use, which all of our investors, in the alliance get to have access to that. And it's in my opinion, which I'm biased, I understand, but it's like first class developed
yeah,
content that you can illustrate and show, in your company. It just makes what you have look really professional and we're all singing the same song, right? Like having a great message that really translates into a consistent message that consumers are hearing about the value of professional pest control is huge.
yeah.
My favorite is the tiny termite house. That's probably one of my most favorite. And I think it's really just the way they develop. We've all seen what termites do, but like how the music and the visuals and just like the cool stuff, right? Like so.
Yeah.
But anyhow, now they've got TikTok going. There's all kinds of things happening. So
Y'all do a great, great, great job when it comes to the content. You can tell you spend a lot of time and intention behind it. And yes, if you if you are a member and you're not utilizing this or your marketing team is not, I highly recommend that you utilize the
yes.
resources and the content that is created. It is super informative.
Yeah,
Um,
I wanted to say so a couple other ways that have kind of really one I'm thinking of is kind of newer and really kind of almost exploded really is our foundation. So we have a pest management foundation and just like true to most, it's really about education and research. So what does that really matter to businesses is due to the scholarship program that we're putting forward now, we have over 30 scholarships. We're
yeah,
giving a lot of, push out into the marketplace of kids going to college, which isn't always our market, but it's really just another way of saying, here's an industry that you want to be a part of,
yeah,
and they're providing funding for you for your education. So, and then on the other side is the research part where we're really funding, research, particularly in a time, when grants and research is hard to come by
yeah.
in the universities. So we're really stepping up our game in that and have some really exciting things there. And these are maybe not tangible things per se. I think that our members or the industry look at, but I think things again that just reinforce pest control is such a valuable place and
Absolutely.
not just a great workplace and great service, but we're making a difference and really putting our brand as an industry out there is a really meaningful place for folks to consider doing business with or being a part of.
That really is so meaningful. And I've been talking a lot lately about like doing things now that pay dividends later, right? Like
Yes.
what is something that can have a long-term impact? And I can tell just from our conversations, you are a very intentional person. It sounds like you have a very intentional team. You've got a strong team. And I know one thing that we talked about really was like leadership and how that has played a role in your journey at NPMA and before that, and has been something that's been really fun for you as you've stepped into even more every day, don't we all? A leadership role. So, um, yeah, talk to me a little bit about like your journey into leadership. What do you find to be one of the most rewarding parts of leading the team at NPMA?
I mean, always surround yourself with people that are, hopefully can be a little smarter than you or offer something like, that's different. I mean, to me, that's huge. That's my greatest pleasure is seeing people succeed and thrive and growing in their
Yeah,
roles. It's something I'm a lifelong learner, so I always say like, I'm happy to learn and I'm happy to see people want to learn. So when I see that, it makes me excited because that means they're really prosper. They're just prospering, right? Like
yeah,
their mental health and their ability to continue providing top-notch service for themselves and like personal growth, but also into the role that they're playing at in PMA. But I think, as developing leaders, I mean, that's I think what any business leader wants to do
yeah,
is, have people growing. And I think for us, as a we like to talk about pest control as an innovative and entrepreneurial industry. And we can't be complacent. We can't just rely on what we've always done. And we've done a lot of things that we've done
so
and
true.
we do it really good, but we're
Mhm.
always saying, how do we do it better? And I think sometimes people get frustrated with that mantra a little bit, right? When you're in the trenches, but I think it really does help lead our success story. And I think once people see that and they feel it and they realize, oh, you know what? It really matters. So
Yeah,
we do push ourselves. It's a constant push for what we do. Let's do what we do great, but let's really think about how we can be better.
yeah.
Or innovative or try new things. So that's definitely our kind of, I guess, overall, outside of core values and all the things, that's the thing I always say. I'm like, if as soon as you're getting bored, I promise, like, don't even think about it. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to change quickly.
It's gonna change, you're right. It is an industry that is gonna change, is very entrepreneurial, and as we all know, like, even people have changed, hiring people has changed, leading people has changed so much,
Oh,
over the last 5 years, even the last decade. Um, you know, so you mentioned that some of the best operators that you know really aren't in this industry to seek recognition. Some of the best operators are not just out here to have, you know, their name in lights or their name on a truck, but that it's because they really are passionate about serving people and the community. What have you seen from companies that really embrace and embody that mindset? That it's not about recognition, it's about passion and serving.
yeah, I think, it almost comes from the ownership or upper leadership, and it's built into almost right away the foundation of their structure and how they're organized and whether it's through their benefits programs or their priorities and when they are coming together as people as a team and then ultimately what they think matters to their customers. So I think they build that into their culture and it really I think where I land on that is, community service because it's a easy way, I think, to really tap into people's passions outside of the workplace and as well to align with what your community needs,
Yeah.
or what they're looking for, or how you can fill in a place that is really intentional and meaningful. Whether it's supporting kids' teams or real, disease charitable, organizations or disasters, right? Like I mean, this unfortunately, we have natural disasters that happen more and more
Mhm.
through time, and the industry is just such a giving industry. So I think that comes from the part of really just saying, "Hey, this is we're not here just to serve and run routes and
Yeah.
do the service we're doing. While those things matter, like it's what we do, right? And everybody wants to collect a paycheck, and it's a business, so we understand businesses want to make money, but I think there
Right.
is some inherent value in the idea of we are taking care of people or property or food. And in that just naturally lends itself to say, okay, how can we do it in a way that goes beyond just our normal customer base?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like that mindset really is ingrained in the industry culture? Do you find that to be true?
I think so. I mean, we have an NPMA Gives Award every year, and we started it, and we allow people to kind of designate themselves if they commit to I don't remember the percentage offhand, but, like, if they commit to, like, just their normal every year operations, we're going to do good for others outside, like charitable or, just donations. You'd be surprised. I mean, so many are like, "Yeah, we do that." And again, it's not like they did it so they could put out a PR, release to say a press release to say, "Hey, look at me."
Yeah.
They did it because they really found value. Now, if they're I would say they should do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a marketing person, so I mean, I think it's about the good you do first, but it's also about letting people know the good that you're doing. And there's the heart value, right? I always say there's different measures of success. So success was in the fact that you thought about it, that you did it,
Yeah.
but then people knew about it, not just you, but the people around you, because then they're going to see you, your business, your people in a different light than maybe they saw you yesterday.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what any of us, when we do things, we're always doing it. It has to start with who you are first, and then it just grows from there. And you can tell in the companies that do this, which I do think it is a majority, and I do think it's inherent in just the companies and what they do, is the team members, how they embrace it and
Yeah.
how they love it from small companies to large companies. They love having something that really resonates for them on a personal level and how they can contribute and give back.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, we're designed that way. Like we are going to want to be part of something bigger. And
Yeah.
I love that. And I do see that as part of the industry culture. And it's something that um, I love. And I know you see that working with a lot of operators. And a lot of operators I know start out maybe as a technician or they were just out on routes. And then one day when they start their own business, or maybe they've, um, come into the business,
Hmm.
now they're not just running routes, they are leading people and now they're hiring and they're selling and they're running a business.
Yeah.
And they're, like you said, they're the culture, they're the finance, you're kind of doing everything. What advice do you have for owners who have really gone from point A to now wearing all of these hats and having to do this big job role that is being an operator and running a business and leading people?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot to be in when you're a one man band, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you are going to be doing it all, but I would say, like, my number one thing is you're not alone. Like, even though it can feel very lonely, and in particularly when you are wearing all those hats, is that we are so fortunate that the industry is one of we already talked about giving, but
Giving.
they want to see you thrive. Like, so I just think you're not alone. You know, figure out a way to connect with others in the industry, and they're going to help you find whether it's efficiencies or recommendations to others that can help you in the spaces that maybe you need additional support. I just think that's such a huge way of really growing. And whether it's a state association, I think that's probably the first place most people go to, a regional or state association, just to connect with others. There's tons of business groups within the industry, a lot of them really small business oriented, and they literally just get together so they can support one another, talk about business issues. So I think that would be my message. You're not alone, but you have to reach out, right? Like
Mhm.
you have to be able to kind of step in a pool and say, I'm here and now I just need somebody to help me swim.
That's
Um,
right. Yep. Get involved, show up, reach
yeah,
out. Yep.
yeah.
And you are a big advocate for finding somebody to talk shop with and get involved with. So, how has mentorship really shaped your own career? And what advice do you give for people who maybe are looking for the right mentor right now?
Yeah. It is so important. Kind of tying back to like really stepping out there is first, it's okay to say you need help. And I think often we're, particularly if you're, a strong person and independent and, as an entrepreneurial business owner, I'm guessing you are all those things.
Mhm.
It's hard to say like, hey, I could use some help here. But I think it's okay. Like it's, asking for help or just you don't even have to say the word help, just making connections with people that will innately drive that opportunity for mentoring. I mean, for me, I've had mentors that were in the industry. They were women, men, older, younger, and outside of the industry, people just, serving in roles like mine that could help me, understand what it might look like outside of my own perspective. So I like to say I was born here. So I was like, so what does it look like on the outside world? How do they really work? Within your own network of friends. Like I just think there's so many different opportunities. Some people have very formal relationships with mentors. I think those
Mhm.
are wonderful and I think they're huge. I think when you're in a small business opportunity or environment, sometimes those things seem very structured and very, I don't know, regimented, and it might be a little
Yeah,
too much, right? So it doesn't have to be formal to be meaningful, I guess, is probably where I would go. But there's lots of ways to get involved. Like I love talking about some of the things that we do at NPMA that do create those, maybe not so structured, but enough where you can jump into the pool and know that somebody's got a life jacket and you're going to be fine.
yeah,
Is we have our Hives program, which is online, 6 weeks. I think it's 30 minutes. So it doesn't require you to get on a plane and travel.
yeah,
You're going to be put together with other business professionals. And so you get to meet people, expand your network, and just find the person. So through that process, I know people who have done Hives every session that's come about for the last, I think we've been doing for 3 years. I love this program. When we launched it, we had no idea that the meaningfulness that would come out of it. And folks that may have not had the opportunity to attend in-person events or meet others outside of their marketplace. It's just been really eye-opening, and it's all levels. So people are like, maybe a small business owner in South Florida is all of a sudden talking to somebody, that's got a really strong mid-sized business in Arkansas. So it's just, and it innately creates that level of competitive but trusting environment because they don't feel like it's, their backyard competitor.
yeah.
Um, the other part is the academy. So have you been to the academy,
I
Kelly?
haven't been to the academy, but it's on my list.
Yeah. So, the academy, that's what it's all about. It's
It
all
looks
about making
awesome.
connections and networking.
Yeah.
And we put a ton of effort into team building. We break people down, and I don't mean mentally. I'm just saying we break them apart.
In the group?
We put them with different
Yeah.
groups and the whole time. So it's 3 days of just really all in networking, connections, personal growth, business growth. We don't talk about pest control. We're there to help you build your network because we do believe it's people that make us better and that
Mhm.
help us grow. So the economy is huge. I mean, there are many. I've been here 30 years. People I've known for 30 years that are like they've met their spouses, they've met their business
Oh
partners, they've
my gosh,
met
yeah.
their mentors that they're like, if I hadn't met this person at the academy, 25 years ago, I wouldn't be where I am today.
That's right.
So it's just, it really creates an environment where people build communities, there. And so I love that program for that reason. We call it the 365. That means you met today, but you know what? This is going to go on. You're going to be connected for the whole year. And so those are some ways NPMA really helps. Again, I know there's business groups out there. They're not under NPMA's
Mhm.
umbrella, but I do know they're out there. If somebody called us, we'd be like, hey, we could probably help direct if they're looking for something. There's business groups. I mean, Vistage is one.
Mhm.
Um, I know there's PO. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of different ones. So I think there's so many opportunities. I would just
Yeah.
encourage somebody to say, do it at the level that you can and don't feel like you have to go big just to get some value. Like you can start small and start there. And I think you'll
Yeah.
find, it'll pay dividends long term in
Yeah.
the future. And the other part I would say is if it doesn't work right away, if it's not giving you like what you're looking for, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, we do it all the time. We used to have a formal mentoring program, and somebody like, "Oh, it's not really working for me." Be like, "Okay, well, let's talk about it for a minute." We don't say anything bad about anybody, but,
Yeah.
"All right, let's figure it out, and we'll try somebody new." And nobody's feelings are hurt. Like, it takes 2 people to really connect to build that type of relationship. So, I would definitely say for some who kinda get a little discouraged when they're like, "Oh, I thought this is what it was gonna be," and then realize, "Okay, it could be different."
Yeah.
So, and we have other leadership programs that do that too within NPMA. We have our executive leadership program that has been a huge proponent for people to build their networks and build their businesses and
And
their
you guys just had that event, right?
what's that?
You guys just had that event,
The
right?
executive leadership program. No, it's an actual 2-year program where
Oh, wow.
people can apply, and then NPMA kind of builds a curriculum of, again, business professional development. And then it's really about having mentorship and meeting others that are leaders in the association. But the Executive Leadership Forum is where we bring all of our leaders
Yeah.
together. So that just happened in June. So
Yes.
yes.
I love that. And really, that is everything that you said from Hive. I mean, it is about like just raising your hand and being like, hey, I don't know like all of the answers. Or maybe you're like, hey, I am doing really well. Like I'm kind of crushing it. Is there anything else that I could be doing better or more efficiently? Or
Mhm.
maybe you want to be the one that helps someone else, like another operator
Yeah.
who's just getting off the ground or getting ready to, open a second location. And like you've made the mistakes, you've done the things, and you're ready to help somebody else do it better. And I think that just, again, just ties back to the giving nature of the industry. And I'm sure that that is something that, I mean, super grateful that NPMA fosters all that and has a place for those people to go. And I can imagine that the people that are at the events that are there ready to shake hands and share, like that's just part of the culture there and in the industry too. You have had the opportunity to meet thousands of pest control operators and professionals. What qualities do you see right now in some of the best leaders? What do they have in common that you've seen?
The passion, I think passion and commitment to the industry. I'm looking at, companies that are looking to thrive for the long haul. They're really in it to make a difference in their communities for their people.
Yeah.
I think that's huge, and particularly in a market that's changing. We've got a lot of dynamics shifting in the industry, and so I think those are really significant qualities. Then you add in curiosity, humility, wanting to grow and do things innovatively. I can think of some leaders that are not afraid to try new things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I think that's the really exciting thing about the industry, and that's some of the things that we try to emulate, as their association. And I think we kind of have to. I mean, because between the environment, the regulations, all the things that constantly are kind of, the behind us, chasing us, we have to make sure that we're staying ahead of or trying to evolve so that we don't necessarily let something dictate our evolution. So
Yeah.
really, really having a hand in that, and I think keeping in touch. I would say it might feel a little biased, but I feel like the people that are engaged at NPMA, some of the data that we've run from different surveys show the companies that are growing typically are NPMA members and they're involved and engaged. And I don't, I could say, oh, that's because of NPMA. I don't want to, I mean, fun to say that, but
Yeah.
it's really, I think, because of the people, right? It's the
Yeah.
people that they're connecting with and the networks that they're engaged with and those conversations where they're learning, exchanging ideas. So I think that's where it happens. It's where you bring people together that the magic happens. And, we love that for NPMA. That's what we do.
Yeah. That is where the magic happens. I agree with that. I'm looking forward to Pest World this year. Looking forward to meeting you at Pest World this year, officially. Um, and that's a great place too. Just a quick plug if you are not planning on attending or you haven't decided yet, what are you waiting for? It's a great time. Great time to sign up. Looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of the industry?
What's exciting to me is just watching some of the evolution taking place in the industry and the changes, from a lot of family owned businesses. And then you have the mergers and acquisitions. And, those things can seem very daunting, for the people looking out, maybe looking in. But of that is something new coming. We're seeing so many come into the industry because the industry is known to be a good place to work, a good place to start a business. So I think that's exciting to me to see lots of new businesses starting up in the pest control industry, and business people that are, maybe a little more savvy and maybe, bringing some skills or experience or just youth to the industry, different perspectives. So I also see smaller businesses growing. So, one day the small businesses are going to be the medium businesses, and the medium business size businesses are going to be the large businesses. So,
Yeah.
and I love that for small business operators and owners, they can be what they want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is one of the cool things about pest control where you can see people being super happy being, a 5-person or under business, doing very well, very successful, and doing something very meaningful for them, their families, their team. And then, but yet the opportunity to be the next 10, 20, 50, person company. So I think, that's exciting to me. It's exciting to be a part of their growth and to see them do that. What excites me even more is just seeing families and this industry is built off of generational businesses. So I love to see when people show up and they're like, here's my son and he's going to come into business.
Yeah.
Here's my daughter, she's going to do this. And, or just bringing them when they're little to say, this is what we do. And this is why you need to, say this is going to be cool when you get here. So, I mean, those are the things that, we get to see from the NPMA perspective. That's just, it so heartwarming and so exciting to see people care enough about what they do that they're saying, I'm going to bring my family into it. There's nothing more like, I guess, gold seal or whatever is when you say, I want to bring my family or my friends into this business,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
don't bring people in that you don't think, you're offering something really good. So if our industry can still continue to prosper off that, I think, we have so much future ahead of us and I'm really excited about that.
It's so true. It really is something special. And that really is very exciting. Well, Dominique, where can our listeners go to learn more about NPMA, to learn more about you, connect with you? Where do we want to send people to learn more about you?
Yeah, I was just going to throw out a few different places. So we do issue a Pest World magazine, great resource, usually a small business article. So I want to direct people to that. You can find that on our website, npmapestrol.org. We have model contracts and forms. Again, you don't have to do it by yourself. We do not need to create the wheel all over this. We don't need to be Benjamin Franklin. Okay. So use the resources. And if you don't see something that you need, please ask. Maybe somebody else has it, or we can say, well, that's something we should do. So please ask for that. We have online learning, training. We just launched a whole new learning management system. We're super excited about it. Can't wait for people to give us their feedback. We have professional pest pictures. I think this is a big deal.
It
People don't
is.
get caught up in, using marketing photos that they don't have rights to.
Mm-hmm.
As a member of NPMA, you have rights. So that's a great asset, as well. And these are just, again, some small business things. But on our website, npmapestrol.org, there's a Your Business section. Just jump right in there. You can search by topic. You can even, there's a small business topic, and you can find lots of different assets in there that could be super, um, informative, educational, helpful, or just kind of point you like most of us when we go online to look for something, we end up looking at 20 other things
Mm-hmm.
that all seem just as interesting, but somehow have to get back to the one we were working on in the first place. Me personally, Dominique Stumpf, I'm a D Stumpf at pestroll.org. Anywhere I communicate with, my cell phone's on there. And I encourage people to reach out. If you want to keep it real simple, npma at pestroll.org. It lands where it needs to go. If I'm at an event and you don't know me and you want to say hi, please, grab me. I love talking to members. I love visiting companies. It's probably one of my biggest passions is to get in the field and just be out there and meeting companies and the folks that work for the pest control.
Well,
So I think that's it. That's how you reach me.
good. Yes. Yes. I am excited to connect with you later this year at Pest World. And this will be my first NPMA event. So I am thrilled. Um, and my first as a member. So I'm even more thrilled. Um,
Thanks.
okay. Dominique, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your knowledge today, and your encouragement about the industry and your work that you guys do and your team that they do at NPMA when it comes to public health, too. So I appreciate our conversation. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, and we will see you next time.
All right. Thank you.